I'm like nervous. Why do I get nervous? Do you get nervous?
Never. Yeah. No, I was like, I'm more nervous about this episode than the last one because now we have such committed fans. We have a fan base.
We do have a fan base.
Maybe 5 of our friends.
It's so funny. I'll see people follow the Instagram page and I'm like, we're growing. And then
and you're like, oh, it's my mom.
So welcome to Menti Breaky.
Epi 2E.
I've learned a lot from Epi 1.
Oh, about editing?
We recorded the last one in 4K.
Oh, that was horrifying.
Mistake. I, as you said, battled with 4K for
It's a disservice. I'm like, why was this even invented?
It's a disservice
just
to
like
humanity.
Make you feel bad about yourself. Like, if you want to film a flower in 4K, fine.
Yeah, film a fucking flower.
The second you film a human face in 4K, I'm like, what are you trying to do right now?
Yeah, like, is this... I don't think we need these pixels.
No, I swear to God, there was things on my face. I'm like, that's not there. Like, I was like looking in a mirror. I'm like, that does not exist.
No, I stood this close. I stood 1 millimeter away from the mirror, stared at my forehead. I'm like, those dots, not there.
They're not there.
I downloaded a free trial of Facetune just to get the 7 days. Put our fucking faces in it.
How many times did you tune our faces?
I pressed auto.
And you're like, not even close.
Yeah. And then you can scroll how much you want it to Facetune, right? But if you scroll to the...
What happens when you scroll to the max? You're just a different person.
You're just like anime.
You're just like a hot Indian girl. You're like, okay, I'll take it.
You just look like a cartoon.
That is hilarious. And we do know people that do that.
Oh, 100%.
Like they'll post a picture and you're like, oopsies, someone drew this. This is not a picture of you. It's a drawing.
We know people who I've seen them on social media and then I look at them in real life. I don't recognize them.
So bad. Like, well, we also know people. We know people that will post something and then other people are like, who is that person in the picture? And I'm like, oh, that person you have met 20 times. And they're like, no, I haven't. And that's when everyone realizes they are heavily editing their photos.
Do you edit your photos?
I think like occasionally, like if I had like a bad pimple, I might try and edit it out. But for the most part, no.
You filter them though.
Yeah, I'll throw filters on, but it's never to like make myself look better. It's just because it's like an aesthetic.
Right.
When we were our Mexico trip, it's like I was just like putting filters on everything.
Yeah, to make it look like the colors pop. I at one point fucked with Facetune a little bit.
Yeah.
It wasn't called Facetune. It was called Beauty Editor or something.
Oh yeah, I think I had that one. Yeah.
And you get addicted to it because I went on because I think like my teeth looked really yellow in a picture and I was just like, okay, like I'll just put some whitener on my teeth. And then you see like all the options and how fucking easy it is.
Yeah, like you can just make your nose thinner or like you can, I don't know, just like make your cheeks bigger and you're like, oh, why not?
It's so toxic because you're just playing around with it, but you're not just playing around. You're like altering your brain chemistry.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I regularly get because I don't edit my photos? People tell me I look better in real life. I get that a lot. I'm like, that kind of hurts still.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, you photograph badly. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, but that is still my face.
I do feel like that's better than
you look
photographing
of
well.
Course. Better. Yeah. If you photograph well, that just means you're good at editing.
Okay. You know what the worst is though?
Go on. When they say you look bad in real life and in photos and you're like, oh, no one asked.
I guess that would be the worst. But the worst for me is when there's a picture of me and I hate it. And then someone says, oh, you're so photogenic. And you're like, I hate what I look like in that.
Interesting.
And you think I look better in that than in real life?
Oh, yeah, that's painful.
Even when we took pictures in Mexico and there'd be like 10 of the same fucking picture and we'd be like scrolling through like which one looks the best.
It's so funny.
The ones that you thought looked the best, I was like, I don't see a difference in her face in any of these. But then you would do the same thing with me.
Yeah. We'll notice like the smallest insecurity that might be different in one photo that no one else notices. Yeah. And we're like, I have to delete this photo. And I was like, why? It looks fine. And you're like, no, my eyebrow is too big. And you're like, okay, what?
Everyone has their own
insecurities.
That, we can't even see. But you know who can see them?
Go on.
4K.
I was going to say Jesus Christ. I was going to say our Lord and Savior, the Messiah, Jesus Christ. Or 4K, also known as 4K. That's what I call Jesus. Because he sees everything. Guess what?
What?
Guess what our girl Ariana was up to in the past week?
Oh, yeah. How funny was that?
Dropped a banger. You don't like it? I like it. So
Really?
Upon first listen, I wasn't crazy about it.
Okay.
But then I just had it on repeat. By the end, was digging it a lot.
So I did post on our Instagram page, like, we talked about Ariana Grande dropping a banger, and then she dropped a banger, because I was like, this is relevant to the times.
But you didn't believe it in your heart that it was a banger?
It was kind of an inauthentic post, because I listened to it once, and then I tried to listen to it again, and I was like, I don't really have time for this right now. But you know what? I did not like Thank You Next until maybe the 5th time I heard it.
That's what I find with a lot of Ariana songs is upon first listen, I find her voice can be a bit much.
I think with this one specifically, a lot of them, but this one specifically, there's a lot going on in the song.
Yes, but I find that with a lot of her songs, and then the more I listen to it, the more I can digest it.
Yeah, like maybe it calms down a bit because you've heard it a few times. Because I'm like, there's a lot of background, there's a lot of like vocal
That's so
chords.
funny. I feel the exact same way.
Of course we feel the same way.
I would give it a few more listens, and I feel like it will thank you next you.
Okay.
And you'll be like, yes, and?
You know what I liked about the song? I feel like it actually mirrored our podcast, because she was just kind of being like,
I think she was listening.
Yeah, she was being like, fucking yes and. Like, what the fuck do you want from me? Like, it wasn't about
It was
love
exactly it, yeah.
or men or anything.
Yeah.
She was just like, what the fuck? Like,
hers often are about herself and like being like, okay.
Yeah,
like
literally.
It's not always about boys with Ariana.
No, she was. Taylor does have a lot about boys.
And once in a while she'll like write one about the gays.
But she does have some that are not about the gays or boys. The Lakes. Actually, that one kind of has boys in
that
it.
famous one.
I really like that song. That's a deep
Never
cut.
heard it in my
Would
life.
recommend 2 versions.
A very deep cut.
You're on Your Own, Kid. You don't know that one?
No.
Okay, this is really embarrassing.
Shake It Off.
Yeah.
There we go.
Thank
we found
you.
one.
It's like a popular one, but that was really embarrassing for us as a podcast that you didn't know.
I'm not as big of a fan, Monica.
Okay.
And I came up with a popular one that wasn't about boys, so.
Yeah, you did. Shake It Off. That was a good one.
Thank you.
But yeah, I do like Ariana Grande when she comes out with a banger where she's like, I actually just like don't fucking care.
Yeah. That's her vibe a lot.
Yeah.
But it is like interesting because like this time, she is getting a lot of hate and she's like, I don't fucking care. And I'm like, should you care though?
Do you think she should?
I don't know. Because
I don't think
it's
so.
Like, I guess not. Because,
what do you think she should get hate for? The man thing?
Which like, again, I think it's a little bit of projection on my part. Just because I may have some similarities to her in feeling like I'm not a girl's girl and like I'll do anything for a man, and that potentially they may be unavailable men that I'm like chasing after.
Right. I guess I don't see it that way. I see it as more like how she deals with it in her life is kind of like none of our business.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we don't know.
Yeah, guys, it's not really your business.
It's not your business. It's not our business.
Yeah. It's none of our business, but I still love to read it.
Obviously.
But I am a Ariana supporter still. Thank you for the banger. Great music video as well. And she looks good in the music video.
Oh, I should watch. I haven't watched it.
She looks good in it because like she has been looking bad. But again, I'm like, yes and.
Yes and. We're going to do the outline, but in a bit of a different order, just because we're talking about this. But the Taylor Swift article I found where it was,
same, yeah,
it was an opinion piece on her sexuality.
Yeah.
And it was like, does the public have the right to write an opinion piece on someone's sexuality and like have this discussion?
No, but it's also just like, because it was like the New York Times that wrote it.
Yeah.
Lately, like any article ever, it's just clickbait. Like you like see the articles that they're putting out now, and you're like, oh, this is just trash.
Yeah.
Like, you're the New York Times, and like, but I guess it's just like, oh, we need a click. We need someone to read this.
Yeah, because like no one really reads
yeah
newspapers anymore.
You're like, this could be a TikTok.
What I found interesting about it was that it was an opinion piece. Like, why the fuck do I care?
That's hilarious.
About your fucking opinion. I mean, I could fucking write an opinion piece on Taylor Swift too. Hey, my opinion is that Taylor Swift is cool. Fucking published in the New York Times. Like, who the fuck cares?
It is reassuring to know we could be published editors of the New York Times.
That's a good point, actually.
Like, when it's just like, is Taylor gay? I'm like, oh, I've written that.
Yeah. Oh,
I could write that.
Yeah. And
yeah, it's just something you can question in your own home, in your own head, and just like not write an article for the New York Times about it.
Could you imagine just sitting down to read that article and being like, hey, I'm going to read this fucking random...
It is funny to be like, I'm actually reading the New York Times, and then someone looks at your computer and it says, is Taylor Swift gay? And
opinion
you're like,
piece.
Yeah. Have I watched 6,000 TikToks on Taylor Swift's costume changes during the Eras tour?
Hondo P, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that basically is the essence of reading a New York Times article now.
Yeah. I think what it also reminded me of was the debate over whether Shawn Mendes is gay or not. Because he's come out to say that he's not gay like many times.
And we're like, yes, you are.
Yeah.
But again, it's just like, I can believe that he's gay in the comfort of my own home, but then like not go out and write an opinion piece on it.
Right. Discuss it on the podcast.
Yeah.
But I don't have to be like, hey, this is why I think Shawn Mendes is gay.
That's
published
insane.
in the New York Times.
We're also being funny.
Right.
Whereas that's like, what's supposed to be a serious article, which is just like, who's this for?
Yeah, what's the target audience? Like, people who read the New York Times, you think they're going to be interested in this?
My parents are like, oh, okay. Wow.
You think like a fucking 18-year-old Swiftie is going to log into the New York Times?
She has a lot of female friends. Wow, okay. Yeah, maybe she is gay.
It's also like a Swiftie who would be interested in Taylor Swift is not going to read it because they already fucking know everything that you're saying.
But maybe it was just to get Swifties mad. And mission accomplished. Look at you.
I know.
You're riled up. Like,
I am pretty riled up, and we've talked about it for like 10 minutes on the podcast.
Sweat on your forehead.
There is sweat. I'm emotionally charged. I actually wanted to tell our viewers how we became friends.
Go on.
Because I think it's such a beautiful story.
Okay.
Hannah's like, can you fucking stop showing emotion towards me? I can't handle this much emotion.
No, thank you.
Okay, so how we became friends was the first night that I ever started stand-up comedy, like my first open mic. I was so nervous. Hannah was also doing the open mic. And my background story about comedy is that the reason I started was just, I mean, I always wanted to do stand-up comedy, but I had just gone through like a really shitty breakup. Like I lost myself with like a relationship. And so that's what led me to actually starting at that point. So I went and I saw Hannah perform and I'm like, that was really good. Like I was like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. Hannah wants to kill herself right now.
No, go on.
So
no, this part I like. Like when people talk about me being good at comedy and then if you show me any other affection, I'm like, no thanks.
Yeah. And then even my friends afterwards were like, there was that one girl.
Oh.
Yeah. And she was so funny. And I was like, I know. And I like went home and I went on the Instagram page of like the open mic that we went to. I found like you were following them or something. And so I was like, oh, that's the girl. And I went to your page and you had a clip. Can I share your joke with our
go for
viewers?
it.
So the clip was like, you know, oh, now I'm blanking on your joke. This is so embarrassing.
This is exactly how it goes, actually.
Yeah, she's just
I just
standing
stand
on the stage.
I go,
Yeah.
And Monica's like, oh my God.
I don't
This girl is good. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, she's like, I like lose my entire personality for a man. I think there's like a name for us. It's called like white women or something.
Boom, first pop. We're gonna do this pop by pop. That's your first pop.
Boom,
right
first
there.
pop. And I heard that, and I just like, obviously I thought you were a good comic from what I saw the first night, but I was like, I relate to that so much because I literally just started comedy because I lost my whole personality in a relationship with a man, and then I was looking at you do comedy. I'm like, that's literally what I just went through.
Yeah.
So then I was just like hoping to run into Hannah again.
And it's not hard.
Yeah.
So I just went to every shitty open mic in the city, and there she was.
Yeah.
So I just started going to places where no one else would go, and there was sewage dripping from the ceiling. And Hannah was there with a mic that wasn't working.
Yeah, literally. And then I saw you at another open mic. I'm like, oh my God, there she is. And I was like, hi, Monica. I think you're really funny. And you're like, oh, like, thank you so much. Like, you were like being nice. And then for the first like 6 months, I was like starstruck by you, and I was
Crazy.
like, "Oh, you're so funny," and you were like,
I know that's how you're like, I'm a fan. I was like, what?
I still am.
I know, and we were in an Italian restaurant when this conversation happened. By the way, where she's like, I'm a huge fan of you. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing so well.
We're in like an Italian restaurant.
Like
there's
men yelling at a football game. Yeah. Drinking beer, and she's like, you're great. I was like, okay.
I'm like, I'm a huge fan.
Watch me bomb.
There's no audience members. I'm just like literally trying to get Hannah's autograph.
I'm like eating a pizza. I'm like, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and then I guess over time we just like became friends.
And honestly, I've had that joke about faking your whole personality for a man. I've had so many people come up to me, and I've had a lot of women come up to me that aren't white that are like, you shouldn't say white girls. I'm like, I do, because it's like I feel like we do it more.
Well, it's also relatable to you, right?
Yeah, and especially when I see white girls with guys that aren't white, I love telling that joke and then like looking at them, and then they'll both burst out laughing because I'm like, yeah, you're like really enjoying learning about Jamaica, right? Or learning the Indian culture.
I've
like,
seen you do that.
And I'm like, oh yeah, they just we like latch on and steal hobbies and cultures.
It's so funny. I think this kind of leads us into our next topic, actually, which is talking about a new joke or premise that we're working on or that we have that we really like.
Go on.
Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay, so this new joke that I kind of have is it's a true story, of course. I was like seeing this guy, and he was telling me that he was seeing this girl a while ago, and he was like so nervous around her because she was like so stunning and just like made him so nervous that he could not get hard for the first like 5 times that they tried to hook up. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, you've always gotten hard for me, you fucking asshole. And I think what's funny about the joke, because I'm like, this is my new insecurity that guys get hard for me.
Yes.
But I think what's funny is that every guy that I've kind of riffed this with or like told about the joke is like, oh my God, that's so fucking true. Like,
oh yeah,
when I like a girl, I can't get hard, and like the best sex I've ever had where I just like fucking like pound her is like when I don't give a fuck. She's like this ugly fucking like bitch, and I'm just like, oh, well, every guy has always gotten hard for me. So what the fuck?
No, I've heard this before from like exes.
Yeah.
They'll be like, yeah, like the dirtier and grosser, then the better the sex is. I'm like, well, I thought we were having pretty good sex.
Yeah.
So that sucks.
Yeah. I'm just like, what the fuck? And then a real life story that happened to me related to this is that I hooked up with this guy. He came in like 5 seconds, and I was like, oh, he's in love with me because he came in like, 5 seconds. Relax. Yeah, I'm like, okay, like we'll get married, don't worry.
Yeah. And why is that bad when they come quickly?
Maybe not.
Doesn't that mean we're hot? Because they're like performing poorly?
Well, I don't fucking know anymore.
Now who knows what anything means?
Who knows what anything means?
Apparently, if they get hard and come, you're a fucking gross pig. That sucks.
Well, okay, so he came like so quickly. He's like, that was amazing, like whatever.
You're like, you asshole.
Yeah. And so then he hooked up with my friend, and like we were done. It was fine. And so me and my friend were talking about it, and she was like, oh, he like couldn't get hard.
No.
She's like, he couldn't get hard. And I was like, oh, I'm superior because I got this guy hard, and he came so
now
quickly.
You know the truth.
Not done the story.
Oh no.
They're married.
And they've never had sex because he loves her. But I have that with guys as well, where it's like the less I'm attracted to a guy, the more but there's a reason. It's because I'm like, oh, I don't care.
Yeah.
And as soon as I don't care, the sex is going to be better.
Yeah.
Because now I'm like, oh, I'm able to just kind of be vulnerable. And if they kind of laugh at me, I would be like, I don't care.
Yeah, like who the fuck?
Yeah, but like, who are you? You're welcome for me even being here. It is just like hilarious to think like, you're like, ugh. That guy like really liked me, and you're like, no, he didn't.
Yeah, you're like, oh, he actually couldn't care less.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my joke. And then at the end, I'm like, if I take a guy home and we start hooking up and I get naked and he gets hard, I'm like, get out. You don't even care about me.
Yeah. That's how you can tell if he's marriage material.
Yeah, if he's a soft boy.
Yeah, then you're like,
you care.
your wedding bells.
And he like has an actual erectile dysfunction forever.
That's what we're looking for in a man. ED. I have one about this one like wasn't working. It worked once and then never again. On I think men are just like so shit at emotions. But because they just like they don't have any practice with it. Like for 20,000 years, women have been having an emotions. Name any emotion and a woman will like knock it out of the park. You're like, you want me to be devastated? You're about to see fucking devastated.
I got you.
But whereas men, it's like been a decade since they've like allowed themselves to feel emotions, and they're just like, they don't know how yet.
Right.
Like they're trying.
Right.
But it all just comes out as rage.
Right.
We're like, no, that's actually not it.
Yeah. Well, I also find that a lot of men will say, again, a lot of men, not all men, but a lot of men will say like, oh, women are so emotional. And I'm just like, you punch a hole in a wall.
Yes.
You have emotions too. Like men are just as emotional as women. You just don't know what to do with it.
They literally don't know what to do with it. It's just like been a 1 week of men like trying to have emotions, and it's just exhausting as a woman to like
be like, that's wrong.
Yes.
This is not the way to do that thing.
You're like, no, I get it, but you suck at it.
The thing is, though, society has not allowed men to have feelings for so long.
I know it's not their fault, but it's still just like frustrating as a woman to like be watching this toddler like trying to like walk, and like they're just like, I'm gonna try and have an emotion, and then they just like kill someone. You're like, oh, he was upset because he got fired, so he killed his family.
Not the way.
And you're like,
not the way to express that one.
Yeah.
You know what really annoys me? That's something that men do in terms of their emotions is like they'll always blame their inability to be in a relationship on like a past hurt where they're like, I just can't do it again. I'm like, you know, like people like get broken up with.
Literally every guy. They're like, I was hurt in 7th grade.
Yeah.
I've never allowed a woman to enter my heart since then. You're like,
if you're holding on to your grade 7 girlfriend for the rest of your life, like that fucking sucks for you.
Yeah, it only hurts you. So learn to have an emotion and open up your heart.
And then marry me.
And
it's
marry
not that hard.
Monica.
Yeah.
And stop getting hard for her.
Stop getting hard for me. I want my soft.
She wants a soft, emotional man that never gets an erection.
Because he's so nervous.
Because he's so nervous and he has so many emotions that he's so good at expressing.
Yeah, he cries.
He's going to be a big, soft boy.
I literally thought you were going to say he's going to be a bitch.
He'll be a bitch, all right. Be a
little bitch.
Sobbing mess of a man.
I like that premise though.
I think it like worked once when I just been like dealing with so many men in my life. Like, I'm hurt. How shall I let the world know?
Yeah.
Murder.
Yeah.
Screaming.
Yeah.
You're like, no.
Yeah. You're like, maybe just keep it to yourself, actually.
I know, honestly, bottle it back up, guys.
Yeah, put it back. It came out, put it back.
We did it from, I'd say, maybe 95 to now. We let you have emotions.
We tried.
You suck.
Yeah, we're taking them back.
Put
just
a
for
lid
the
on
women.
it. Slam it back in. Keep it down until you actually do murder your whole family. Fine. Whatever. We'll get a Netflix special out of it.
Yeah.
But until then, we don't want to hear about it.
We have no interest.
Until there's a true crime documentary made about you and you're in jail.
We're done.
Save it. And then we'll end it there.
Okay. Hannah has a eyelash appointment that she has to get to. So if you guys wanted more, it's Hannah's fault for not giving it to you because she booked a lash appointment. If you guys want to meet me at
the lash appointment, go ahead.
Well, they're going to be listening to this when the lash appointment is done. So
meet me there.
All right. Have a great week, everyone. This has been Menti Breaky.
God bless.
God bless 4K Jesus. That'll probably be the name of the episode.
4K Jesus.
4K Jesus. I don't even know if I can put Jesus in the name of something without it being, I guess you can.
Go
censored.
For it. Jesus is cool.
Jesus is hip now.
Yeah, Jesus is in right now, actually.
Jesus actually is in right now.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
All right, bye.
Love that guy. Bye.